Clerk, please read the statement.
This is a meeting of the Township Council for Monday, September 23rd, 2019. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 3rd, 2019, and was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Roll call.
Councilmember Ooms, not present. Councilmember Carreri.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Allberger.
Here.
Council President Murphy.
Here. Please rise to salute the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'm just checking, anybody here from the fire department? No? Okay. First on our agenda, we have a proclamation. It's recognizing bells across America. Whereas being a firefighter is a very satisfying profession that is highly respected by children and adults alike. And whereas firefighters stand for all that is good in our society, which is why they are one of the few occupations to be welcomed into your homes without an appointment. And whereas communities rely on their firefighters to solve many types of problems ranging from fires, floods, traffic accidents, and hazardous material incidents, and more. And whereas firefighters go through a rigorous training program so they can follow their dreams to serve their communities with the knowledge that the other members of their team have been equally trained and will look out for each other. And whereas despite human instinct to run away from a fire for fear of being injured, firefighters are the only ones who run towards a burning building as they are willing to risk their lives to complete strangers regardless of race, creed, color, or socioeconomic status. Whereas Bells Across America will be held during National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend, held on October 5th and 6th to honor those fallen heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas Vernon Township has been fortunate to not lose any firefighters in the line of duty while serving with our fire departments, Highland Lakes, McAfee, Pochuck Valley, and Vernon. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Township of Vernon that it does hereby recognize all fallen firefighters. Signed, Harry J. Shortway, Mayor, Jean Murphy, Council President.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Sorry.
This evening, we have a presentation. We have Lindsay McAloney. She is a teacher at the high school, and she will do a presentation on Pledge to Pause. And by the way, our microphones are new. Can everybody hear okay? Okay, better.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lindsay McAloney. I am a teacher at Vernon Township High School. I'm a resident of Vernon since 2005. And I came up with something that I just felt was really needed in the town. About 2 years ago, a former student of mine had contacted me about a class project for college that they were doing regarding hate speech. And at the time, I remember thinking, oh, I'm seeing a lot of stuff online in Vernon, some things posted, and I kind of got a ball rolling here where I had, just a thought that we need something on a smaller scale for Vernon to kind of keep the online posting, negative posting, to a minimum. And from there, over the last 2 years, I've worked with Rebecca Dorney at the Coalition, and I've really, I'm very lucky that at the high school, I kind of have my thumb on the pulse with the students to find out what they see, what they think, what they're watching. And they agree that it is something that is noticeable at any age, that it's not just the kids that are posting negatively online. So we decided to kind of keep working on this and building it up, and we created this multi-tiered project, initiative, if you will, for Vernon to kind of bring it down a little bit, if anything. We're trying to make the online community as wonderful as we think that the actual community of Vernon is. And unfortunately, the online community changes the feeling in town, person to person. It's really unfortunate. So one of the things that really struck a chord with the students is that they said, people post online and they yell at, people talk about the kids and we post, and they're like, but all the adults are posting too. So one of the things that we came up with was, would you continue that conversation if you saw that person in Acme? Would you continue that person with everyone in Acme watching? And would you continue that person with that conversation, that argument, with your child in the cart? Chances are no. But you're doing it online. And the kids are watching, and everyone is watching, and everyone is talking about it. I have people from other towns that find out about things online negatively about Vernon. I don't even know about it. And it's a shame, because I feel like everyone here people really do love living in Vernon. And it's amazing how the online spin can really affect daily life here. So we decided, similarly to the Ice Bucket Challenge, if anyone remembers that, where people were dumping the ice on their head, and it spread like wildfire, and everyone wanted to do it. So with the Pledge to Pause, we created the logo, the red hand with the pause. And what we've asked people to do is at events, our first event where I rolled it out was art standing, which was very exciting. We had 284 people take the pledge at art standing. And so they paint their hand. At art standing, we painted it right on their hand. Since then, I've had the epiphany to get rubber gloves, which is working out excellently for public venues where we don't have running water. So they paint their hand red. They put their hand on the banner. They sign it. They take their picture in our Instagram frame that they took the pledge. And the pledge is, I pledge to pause before posting negative words, images, or comments regarding other individuals. I understand my words have the power to affect the daily life, mental health, and the well-being of others. I will think about the impact my words will have on others before I post. I pledge to pause before posting negative words, images, or comments regarding a community establishment, restaurant, schools, businesses, township organizations, etc. I understand my words have the power to persuade others from frequenting the establishment and adversely affect those local businesses and organizations. Rather than post negatively and impact our community in that way, I agree to contact the business privately with my concerns so they can improve for other customers, enhancing our community. With this handprint, I pledge to leave a positive digital footprint. Because one of the other things we noticed was people go straight to Facebook to bash a business. No, it's like Facebook has trumped the chain of command. No one starts with the business anymore. Instead, they get the food served, they don't send it back, they're upset about it, and then they post on Facebook, and 20 people hop on, I can't stand that place too. And what are we doing? Everyone says, support local business, support local business. And then you don't support local business. So that's something that we really wanted to get a handle on. So above the banners, the next tier that we came up with to include our businesses was businesses, if they want to take the pledge on their end, is that they will post this red handprint in their windows. And that's basically a reminder to the patrons. Please, whether you're unhappy with our service, or you're looking for compensation or a reimbursement or just an explanation as to why something was wrong, it's just a reminder to please go to the business first, because chances are they want to make it better. They want to make their service better for the next person. A lot of the businesses in town are local people. They're parents, they're community members. They're just trying to make a living just like everyone else. If you work in a corporate company, no one can go on Facebook and bash you at the level in your corporate company. You have to keep that in mind. We go right to Facebook, and it's just not right. So we really need to get a handle on that. So the businesses, I dropped a couple off already. I presented to the Chamber of Commerce last Tuesday. They were completely on board with this, and so many of them were like, yes, They don't even give us the opportunity to make it better before they're already posting on Facebook. Most of them just want the opportunity to make it right. I also presented to the Board of Education on Thursday night. The entire board took the pledge. They're really promoting this with the kids. The first thing we teach our kids when they get a Chromebook, where everything's digital, everything's computer, and the first thing they teach the kids is leaving a positive digital footprint. And yet we're somehow muddying the waters for them because they know what we're posting. The internet is forever. It only takes a screenshot. And the kids are seeing it as well. So a lot of the time I say to the kids, imagine what you're seeing some of the adults post. If we as adults saw what other adults posted, but thought for a second, if I saw my kid write that, they would be in big trouble, right? Like we need to change our perspective sometimes when we're looking at it. Eventually, my big hoop dream is once we already have over 630. I think we're at 632 handprints so far. Between I was at all the back to school nights in town, the board meeting, art standing. We've been at different events in town. My end goal in my head to just show exactly how big this was and how many people got involved and took the pledge is to tape all the banners together. And we were thinking maybe wrap town hall or if we took one of the slopes at Mountain Creek and went down an entire ski slope of just red handprints to say 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, Vernon residents have taken the pledge to make it a nicer community, not just in person, but online as well. Because we're really setting the standard for what our kids think is okay when they get to become an adult. So eventually after, if we can do that at Mountain Creek, I keep saying, this is like my end thing. My end goal would be to see on the overpass at Mountain Creek just a banner that says, Vernon Township, a kinder community. All these residents have taken the pledge to value what we have here. It's a great, 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 great community, and it can be great online. It just needs a little help. So with that, I hope we have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and I've posted the hand logo. A couple people have done it so far, and it seems to be working well. The hope is that when people see a post that's heading down a not so positive road or anything that might be specifically bashing a business or not taking into account who is on the receiving end of that people don't engage and just throw up the hand. That's all you have to do is just post the hand. And if enough people post a hand on a post like that, the person will start to realize oh, maybe I didn't think of it from that perspective. Or eventually it's kind of muting it a little bit in a way. So that's pretty much the pledge to pause. In the long run, I just know that I have kids in Vernon, and we do love it here. We think it's a great place. I came from West Milford, which I thought was a wonderful town. So I really just hope that my kids have a great, environment to grow up in, and it is great. But the online we can work on a little bit. So that is my pledge.
All right. Thank you. Do any of the council members have any questions?
No, just thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I brought all our material. If anybody wants to take the pledge while I'm here, before I pack up and head, I do have rubber gloves, so it's a much easier process now. I promise you. Every time we're getting a little better. We did with the window cleanings. One of the recommendations that someone from the chamber had made was, not every business has a storefront. So we're getting smaller handprints made, about a quarter of the size, for anyone who has, a plumbing business or a heating business or anything like that, where their storefront is their van or their truck, so that in their window it's just like, hey, remember, I would love to hear you. I would love to hear what you have to say about my business, but I'd love to hear it and not hear about it. So, yeah.
No, it's high five.
Oh. Question. All right, thank you.
And I wanted to say, I was fortunate enough to be at the chamber meeting last week when Lindsay gave her presentation, and it was very effective with everyone there. But we will be taking a short recess, so if anybody would like to, engage in this. If not, I'm sure that Lindsay will be around town at many other
Yes.
meetings
And we
with
post
the
a
same
lot.
thing.
I try to put it out there to let everyone know where
Yeah.
they'll be.
Again, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Motion for recess?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in recess, so. this way. Okay. May I have a motion? Oh, sorry. May I have a motion to go back into public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So next on our agenda, we have public comments, and this session of public comments are for agenda items only. Please note that public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person on current items only. May I have a motion to open the floor to public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to step forward, have any comments on any agenda items? Please do. Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close?
Motion.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have minutes. May I have a motion to adopt the regular meeting minutes of August 26th?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Wu, not present. Councilmember Ferrari.
Yes.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger.
Yes.
Council President Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt minutes.
Next is our consent agenda. Resolution 19190. This permits the township to enter a pricing agreement with Hunterdon County Educational Services Commission for cooperative purchasing. Resolution 19191. This awards the dumpster services to GATA. Resolution 19192 authorizes December 4th as the day of a tax sale. Resolution 19193 through 19195, this authorizes refunds for tax overpayments for various properties. Resolution 19196, it amends the resolution for appointing a hearing officer. May I have a motion to adopt resolutions 19190 through 19196?
Motion.
I have a first and a second. Roll call?
Councilmember Ferrari.
Yes.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger.
Yes.
Council President Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolutions 19190 through 196.
Next, we have an introduction of a proposed ordinance, Ordinance 1921, an ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 5 of the Municipal Code of the Township of Vernon, entitled Administration of Government, to update the rules of order and procedures for governing council meetings. May I have a motion to introduce Ordinance 1921 with a public hearing on October 17th?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Ferrari.
Yes.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger.
Yes.
Council President Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt or introduce ordinance 1921 with a public hearing on October 17th.
We do not have any second readings on ordinances, so we're on to our second set of public comments that are limited to 3 minutes on any topic. May I have a motion to open the floor to public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to step forward? If you have any comments on any item, please do.
Hi. Peg DeStassi, 4 Silver Spruce Drive. I have a couple of comments on the proposed light festival to be held here in town. There was a recent announcement that a light festival will be held at the old Camp Sussex located on Glenwood Lake property, now owned by the Glenwood Cultural Arts Center. In August of 2018, our mayor announced that the new owners were investing $2 to $3 million on an art project. Now we have heard that the owner has leased the camp to Hello Panda Productions who is advertising the Vernon Light Festival. It will run for 3 days a week for 15 weeks, including all major holidays during that time. My question is this considered to be a special, short-term, reasonable event as stated in ordinance number 0204? Further, we are told that if this is successful, they intend on making it a permanent event. Many questions have risen in our community about this event. Number one, they advertise 100,000 attendees, while we're being told it will be only 10,000. Number two, the concerns on Route 565 is the traffic flow, as well as will the emergency vehicles have accessibility to our neighborhoods. Number three are environmental issues. There's been renovations going on the buildings there. And the buildings are, in some of them, over 80 years old, with the original campsite having been built there. Is the asbestos removal being monitored? I've not seen any type of asbestos outfits or groups over there monitoring that activity at all. And being 80 years old, it probably has asbestos. I know it has asbestos shingles on it. And it would also have lead paint because of how many times it's been painted. So are proper lead paint removals being done? Or is it possible that our land there is being contaminated by the lead paint? It's been stated previously that our aquifer is running on the low side. So another question they came up was, with an excess of these people, even if it's 10,000, but if it turns out to be the 100,000 they're saying are going to attend, is that going to affect our wells, having that additional new demand on our water supply over there? There are people in Panorama that are already having low pressure problems. So there is a concern about the impact on the wells. The last concern is the noise and the light pollution that's going to be occurring and how it will impact our quality of life. Having this going on 3 nights a week, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays for 15 weeks, that's going to have a huge impact on us. So due to the surprise of the establishment of this, I'm here to request that the Glenwood Cultural Arts Center and the promoter, Hello Panda Productions, be invited to attend a council meeting and provide a presentation of their business plan. The residents in town want to know for sure what it is that they are doing, not the tidbits that are falling. We're being told, well, there have been issued some permits, then we're being told this, but no permits. We want to know the facts. I mean, this is going to impact our quality of life. We're not opposed to this new business opportunity, but we fail to see how a self-contained event, because they're going to have their own food, their own entertainment, and there's not going to be an overflow to businesses because there's no businesses on 565. You have one restaurant, the Lamppost. There's a gas station that doesn't have gas, and at the other end you have Pochuck. They close at 6 or 7 in the evening. So where is the impact of helping to develop our economic stability going to be? It doesn't make sense. If anybody is going to be coming to this from a distance, they're going to use their GPS. And GPS is geared to give you the shortest, quickest route, and they're going to bring them in. 565 or Route 6 from New York. They're not going to be taking them through Vernon for a stroll so that they can use our local businesses on the other side of town. It's just not feasible. I truly believe that this type of activity belongs in a commercial zone. It belongs along our main street. It belongs along 94 corridor or even 517. It doesn't belong in a residential zone at all. Today being the autumnal equinox, where the balance of nature is important. I hope that a compromise can be achieved that will protect the rights of all of us. Our mayor has stated that we cannot impede the right of the landowner to a reasonable use of his property. I agree with that, but aren't we also entitled to the same right to protect our property? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to step forward, have any comments?
Good evening. I'm Amanda Hayes, and I just wanted to let the council know, as a resident of Vernon and a neighbor of Glenwood Pochuck Ambulance Squad, how amazed I am at what a great job Kevin Duffy has done. And he just happens to be here tonight, which that's just kind of a odd thing, but whatever. Having lived in Vernon for most of my life, I know that for a long time the ambulance squad was really, really down. Kevin has brought that number up to like 80-something members. They are visible in the community. They do an amazing job. He has a lot of young people who are giving back to their community, and I just thought that it was important that you know that the public sees what they're doing and is very grateful for what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to step forward?
This is a coincidence. Thank you.
Don't ruin it, Kevin.
Oh, I won't. For those of you that don't know me, thank you for the introduction. My name is Kevin Duffy, Vernon resident. I sent the council an email, but I have the wrong email address for each one of you, come to find out. The email included just a little tidbit about Glenwood administration. You may already know this. We are on track to hit over 20,000 volunteer hours, riding hours. That does not include the training or the meetings that they have to go to every month. So really, it's not really thanks to me, it's thanks to all my staff, my members that do this every day. Today we were requested actually to go into Hardiston for that most recent car accident. We had a 2-second response time, and we were the only volunteer ambulance squad on scene.
Wow.
Very good.
So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that I'm very appreciative of not only your support, thank you, not only the support I've been getting from Mayor, and thank you, Chuck, but from everybody. It's very overwhelming, the amount of support we've been getting. But I have to thank my members. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to step forward? Please do. Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close the public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have the mayor's report.
Thank you. Warwick Turnpike, paving began today and should conclude tomorrow. Line striping is scheduled for next week. Lake Pochuck Road, engineering continues. Additional drainage issues were identified. Before the project can begin, DOT approval must be received. Projects throughout the state are delayed because DOT no longer approves the plans, but outsources the proposals, and this has caused delays. Paving this year will be determined by the weather after approval is received. Maple Grange Field, applied landscaping will begin work on Tuesday, tomorrow. Once forces are on site, they will begin work on grading the stone. Any stone required for grading will be stockpiled in a portion of the upper parking lot. The turf material is scheduled to be on site on Monday, September 30th, but there is a chance it may come earlier. We'll let the police department and everybody know so we get additional patrols in there. Field 2, closest to the parking lot, will arrive on site. The installers will begin work immediately. Field 1 will arrive shortly thereafter. Construction on the 2 fields is anticipated to take 4 weeks. Completion, we're looking at mid-October. The reval, the new property values for 2020 will be determined based on their estimated market value as of October 1st, 2019. This is statutory required by the law. Property owners will be notified by mail of the proposed new assessed values. Inspectors from Realty Appraisal will continue to visit all properties, measuring and photographing the exteriors of all buildings and inspecting the interiors. In order to properly assess one's property, it will be necessary for a representative of Realty Appraisal to examine the interior. The first visit from an inspector will they'll arrive between 9 and 5 p.m., 9 a.m. that is. If the property owner is not present at the first visit, the inspector will leave a card specifying a return date to do the interior inspection. You don't have to let them in, but they feel it's more accurate if you do. The notice will also have a telephone number to call to reschedule this appointment if the time or date is not convenient. Murphy Court, reports of dumping of solid waste was used as a residential construction. The zoning officer and engineer responded. Solid waste was observed. DEP also was advised and they also responded. The matter is under investigation. Recommendations will follow upon completion of the investigation. Hello Panda Festival. We are in the process of scheduling a meeting with the organizers. We've done this pretty much on a weekly basis. All our inspectors and the zoning officer have been visiting there at least once a week. Requirements are set by our departments, fire prevention, building and zoning, as well as any requirements that are still needed by the Sussex County Health Department need to be met before a permit for the activity is issued. Veterans Memorial Park. The electrical system at the field failed during a baseball game, causing extensive damage to the circuit box. It literally blew up, sparks, and the pole was burned. Preliminary estimates to repair just that area, $10,000, probably closer to $15,000. The system is over 40 years old. A complete overhaul of the system could be as much as $50,000. Airbnb. Airbnb believes, we got a letter from them this week, and I'm going to quote some of that letter, and we are in contact with them. They believe that short-term rentals should support core public services. That's why, in addition to developing critical public safety tools, we are committed to working with towns to efficiently and effectively collect and remit lodging taxes on behalf of our hosts and guests. Airbnb recognizes the need of some jurisdictions to limit aspects of STR, short-term rentals. We urge the township to develop common sense rules for engaging in home sharing, which set clear expectations for the host community. Airbnb believes it is possible to set in place fair guidelines which target bad actors without stifling the economic opportunities and flexibility home sharing provides families. Airbnb welcomes the opportunity to discuss regulatory solutions for Vernon. Please do not hesitate to reach out with questions or concerns, which we are going to do. And Donnell has already done that. I also had a visit from New Jersey Treasury agents. They were investigating STRs that are not paying the New Jersey state tax, and they're tracking them down to get the state's 3%. They've reaffirmed that the tax on STRs will work the same as it does now for hotels and bed and breakfasts. Airbnb would collect the tax, pay the state with an ordinance in place will send us our 3%. I'm requesting now that at the next council meeting, the council introduce an STR ordinance to begin receiving the hotel occupancy tax generated by STRs. We lost an opportunity to collect tens of thousands of dollars in that's what I call it, hotel occupancy tax revenues this year by failing to introduce and adopt an STR ordinance or amended related ordinances. And our attorney has been working on this, and we can get it out to you for review even before the agenda, but that's where I'd like to take it, to collect some of this revenue, and we can put in the statutory requirements, inspections, and other parts of the ordinances that exist now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, move on to council comments. Councilmember Auberger.
My only comment was I recently saw in the advertiser a resident was berating our DPW over the fact that they're incompetent, they didn't know what they were doing and everything else, and it turns out the individual was on a county road through a project that they had contracted out to a paving company, subcontracted flagging company, so maybe the individual should look before he leaps, and our road department does a wonderful job. I've never seen any problem with their directing of the public, and just sometimes the public fails to follow, so.
I saw that, by the way, and no relation to me.
I wouldn't claim you.
And anything else?
That's it.
No comment.
Council?
Sure. Just quickly, there's an organization called Quilts of Valor. They produce quilts for service members. And I saw also in the advertiser, I believe Vernon Quilters have produced 227 quilts for service members since August 2011. So it's just one of those small things that shows gratitude and keeps veterans in mind. So just wanted to call them out and say great job. Thank you.
Thank you. The Festival of Lights, actually, not sure, did all council members read the email from Mayor Shortway that we received? And I wasn't bringing this up, but since you've had some questions, I mean, this is what we know about it. I think it was it Councilmember Carreri had asked a question. I think when you saw the post, I think.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, so I had asked.
Yeah,
asked what was going on.
And actually, and that's when Councilmember Carrera, I think, asked our business administrator. So just so you know, Mr. Volker answered him, and it states, at the beginning of this year, a businessman from Flushing, Queens, came to see the mayor and I about turning Camp Sussex into a camp that focused on the arts. He had several other partners they're all from China. We met them again in May, and they said the first thing they wanted to do was a festival of lights called Hello Panda Festival. Since June, zoning, land use, building, fire prevention, police department, and the business administrator met with them a few times to check their progress. Approximately a month ago, he arranged a meeting with the Sussex County Health Department to go over the requirements and for them and have a list of what they need to do to complete it. This group also met with some people from the Board of Ed to discuss their plans and to discuss how students might be able to be involved. Overall, this group, which is now going by the name Glenwood Infinity, has been a little slow getting everything together with the timeline they first started, which was, I guess their original timeline was October 15th. They were here, I guess, on a Friday, I guess that's over a week ago, to meet with the building, zoning, and land use to see if there was anything that they could do to move things faster. Their date was quite an ambitious undertaking from the start, and their progress is very slow. So I do not believe or know if the administration is not really clear of whether or not this will actually come to fruition this fall, even though they moved their start date back to the end of October. And other than that they were at the Sussex County Day Fair. They had a booth there at that festival. So that's, just to let you know, like I said, Councilmember Carreri inquired about that because members of the public were calling us. But, so like I said, that, just so you know. So.
Ask questions. Can you open it so you can ask questions?
Well, we don't have any answers, so if you're going to ask questions, I don't have, do you have any answers on anything? Do you have any answers? So we don't have any of the answers, so. Excuse me? Right, so land use would be the venue but I'm not even sure that they haven't gone before land use, correct?
Would you like me to volunteer a little update?
Sure, that would be
Okay.
great.
As of this date, no permits have been issued from any of our departments or the Sussex County Health Department. They are still working on it. We have a meeting set up for Wednesday with this group and all of our department heads involved and the Sussex County Health Department. I think part of the confusion has been that they have a website which talks about what they're doing in other locations. And if you see that picture that they show on the website, it makes you think that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of people. So that's the confusion. What they stated to us is they were expecting to have, and they told the police department this as well, that they are expecting to have 300 to 400 people per night. All right, that's their expectation. And then, like I said to the council, that this seemed like an ambitious project from the beginning. It has not progressed in the timeline that they had set for themselves. And one of the things we plan at our meeting Wednesday morning is to give them strict timelines for trying to complete the things that they need to complete in order to get any permits, and also to ask them to clarify the confusion that they're putting on the website, because what they're doing in other jurisdictions does not matter to Vernon, but if it's on the website, it gives people here in Vernon the thought that they might be doing things here. Like they talk about I think the location is in Queens by City Field, that they are going to be having a beer garden. Well, they're not going to be having a beer garden here. So that being said, we'll try to convey a little more information after we meet with them on Wednesday, and try to get them to perhaps put out more accurate information about what would likely be presented here in Vernon in the event that they do get the permits that they're requesting.
Thank you. Just a couple things. And a question I had on the fire suppression ordinance that I know you've been working on diligently. In there where it speaks of the personnel manual that they would have to abide by, and Councilmember Ohms is not here, and that was something she brought up originally, them needing to abide by. And I'm wondering, has the personnel manual, has that been issued to them?
Nothing has been issued. I spoke with the
But-
labor attorney today. We have a few more edits to go over, which we'll likely do this week, and I'm hoping to have a copy presented to the council for their review prior to the next meeting.
You're talking about the ordinance?
No, the handbook itself,
Excuse me?
the proposed new edition of the handbook.
Okay.
All right. So it's a separate than what was listed in there. It's our current handbook needed revision. It's long overdue. It's taken quite some time because each year the laws change dramatically, and you want to stay up to date as much as possible. So that being said, if we get this done hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, there will probably be some revisions already going into 2020. But I want to try to get the revisions finalized and get it to the council so you could prepare to have either discussion or review prior to the meeting in October.
Okay, that would be great, because I
Yes.
think the last time I did see that was when Elka was here, and it really just looked like a lot of loose pieces of paper. Every time there was a change, there were loose pieces of
Correct.
paper just being put in it, so it was impossible to almost determine
Right.
what was real and what wasn't. So, but I'm just, like I said, I would just wonder if the fire departments have that.
No, nobody
Right.
has it, and it won't be done, and nothing will be done until you have passed it to be the new.
Well, that's what okay,
Yes.
because I didn't know, and I just, like I said,
Right.
on behalf of the fact that she was not here, and I know that was something that was of concern. Next, have you made any progress on trail easements?
No, because that's up to Mountain Creek and Mr. Moore. Both agree they're gonna give it, but they have to decide who has the authority. One says they want it on paper, the other says you just didn't change it over on the deeds. So it's up to them.
At our next meeting, I think we're on, well, we have our ordinance for that entrance, the exit from Cedar Ridge onto 517. Has the engineer been working on that? Have they gotten it to the county? Because we introduced that on March 25th, and at the rate it's going, we won't, we need to have the second reading in the same calendar year. So I'm just wondering, has Corey Stoner addressed that at all that you're aware of?
He said he was in the process of writing a draft letter. He has all his calculations that were done during the summer. He will try to get it to the county as soon as possible. We would not have an idea until after it's delivered how long it would take them for their review.
Okay. And the revow, I know like a lot of people have been asking, so the completion date has moved? Because I know originally they were talking about a completion date, I thought in October. So has that date moved more towards the end of the year now?
I believe so. They doubled their inspectors to try to get it
Yeah, because there's quite a few people that they're, and it's all over town, throughout the town, that they've said that nobody's visited their homes yet, so. Okay. And the Airbnb, and I know I spoke to Josh regarding this, and I know, as you said, oh, well, we're losing tens of thousands of dollars, but, the original ordinance was never really right to begin with, plus the state rolled back some of what they were allowing anyway. And I know that Councilmember Allberger had mentioned, because I think Warwick, and like I said, a lot of times people reference Warwick, because we border them, they have a meeting on October 21st. I guess it's their village hall, and I think Councilmember Carreri said,
I'm going.
Are you going to live? Do you need water? Councilmember Carreri will be attending that. So and I know Councilmember Allberger has a meeting?
Yes, I have
Yes.
a fire meeting to go
He has a
to.
fire meeting. So, and I'm not sure, I'm not sure if you responded, and I'm not sure about Councilmember Ohms, if she responded yet. But I may try to attend it just to see what they're doing there. So even if the ordinance is introduced on this end, there may be, they may have something there that we're not thinking of, because obviously they have a lot more going on in Warwick. I mean, I'm sure the laws are different in New York, as they seem to be a little more lax with a lot of things there. But just wanted to mention, so even if, I don't know how Warwick would like us, enjoy us going to their meeting, but just so the public's aware, there is a meeting on October 21st at the Village Hall at 7:30 p.m. And other than that, I have nothing. Let me just see. Oh, one more thing. The Mountain Creek, our municipal fee ordinance and the pump house obligations, I have asked our attorney if he could review the ordinance, because in it, I think it states that the fee will also include the pump house, but we never got that price, again, from our engineer. I know we were working on all that last year, and that's something that cannot be forgotten, because, Josh, maybe if you could explain a little, this way everybody's aware.
Well, we just need to know
of it.
what the cost to build a new pump house will be, so it can be added to the obligations that Mountain Creek is repaying to the township.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. The situation was the MUA was always going to do it, and my position is, it's a township asset, we should do it. So that's where I want to take it now that they're coming out, that the township's engineer, we may have to subcontract, that's how we figure out what the cost is.
Well,
The MUA.
it's just that I think we were supposed to already have this cost, because, I mean, that's something that, working on the cost of it, again, I think it was Elka that was even here, so it's been a while ago. And,
It's always been 1.5 to $2 million.
right, but it's still a number, whether it's 1.5 or 2 million, it still has to be added into that to make sure that we're collecting that money, that it doesn't get lost somewhere down the road, because it wasn't specific in the ordinance.
We'll need a future resolution if we have to hire outside contracting, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because didn't we give them permission to apply for the grant?
We did give them permission to apply to the NJEIT. I don't know what the status of that is and what they've done with that.
They've also come under new rules now just recently, that's very good. So we have to study that law too, what changes were made, what they can and can't do with that one.
Yeah. So, all right. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?